I think you can only be more positive this year. 12 months ago, there was the real sort of air of negativity over the initial managerial appointment of Ian Dawes. I don't think there's any of that this year. Nigel obviously took charge for the second half of last season on a permanent basis. I'm encouraged with the signings we've made so far. And when you walk around, when I walked through where all the players were signing autographs, my thought were, you know what, we've not got a bad squad here. We've probably got the core of 18 players now together. Yeah, we'll be light in areas. And of course, I expect us to utilise the loan market at some point. But we have got a good team and there's a lot of experience in there as well. We've retained a lot of experience from last season, which I think is important. It's continuity. And we just need to build that spine now. And I think we perhaps have that. When you've got a good goalkeeper, a settled back two, and then, of course, your midfield as well is something that we really needed to sort of get better in last season. But yeah, I'm more positive. That could go out the water after the first couple of games, is always the worry. But no, it's been a long time actually since that Accrington Stanley away game. It just feels a long, long time. So clean slate, looking forward to the season now.
Yeah, the spine was already in place, really, wasn't it? Especially once Norris committed to a new contract for the new season, which I think was a bit of a coup from what I hear to get him signed up. You've got that basis of a squad there. My concern, and it remains a concern even with the 5 players who have signed this summer, is I don't know if I see a match winner in that squad or if I see enough match winners in that squad. The midfield has clearly been addressed with Finley's arrival, and we wait with bated breath to see how good Williams is going to prove to be and whether he can be someone who has a real first team involvement upon stepping up from the Welsh Premier. And obviously there's Chris Merry there as well. But Finley's arrival clearly improves that midfield. But you've lost Rob Apter, and Rob Apter was the game changer last year. Rob Apter was the match winner. And if I look at all the years in which Tranmere have been successful in my time watching the club, they have had someone who is a match winner. In the National League, it was Cook, Norwood and Jennings. In League Two, when they got promoted, it was Norwood and Jennings. Jennings is still there, but I'm not entirely sure he's that kind of match-winning figure anymore. He kind of plays a slightly different role to what he did under Mellon. Even if I go further back to the years when they were battling to get up under Ronnie Moore, they would have had at times a fully fit and in-flow Shuka or a Steve Davis for a short period of time who was capable of turning a game on its head. Or they had a Greenacre, or they had a Thomas Moore. And these squads weren't necessarily successful, but they had someone in them who you could pinpoint and you could look at and go, that player is a focal point of that team, and that player is a match winner in that team when they are fit and firing on all cylinders. I'm not entirely sure whether I see that match winner in there at the moment. Don't get me wrong, there are good players who are capable of brilliant moments. See Kieran Morris, see Josh Hawkes when he's utilised. Possibly even see someone like Harvey Saunders, because he's got that pace that can really trouble defenders. But I just don't see that match winner at the moment. And I think that's probably the big issue that needs addressing now within the transfer window.
Yeah, I think that's a decent point. I think on the flip side of that, you could maybe say that last season there was a very much imbalanced over-reliance on Rob Apter, i.e. when Apter didn't play or an Apter was marked out of a game or didn't play well, Tranmere were toothless. And I think there was that sort of reliance on him, over-reliance. And of course, there was a lot of conversations on the podcast towards the end of last season or in the middle of the campaign of where would we be without Rob Apter. But yeah, I suppose time will tell on that, Matt. It depends on, as I say, 5 new faces through the door so far. Can one of those players step up and be that influential figure who can bag plenty of goals or can get plenty of assists? I certainly hope so. But until the first ball of the season is kicked, we won't really know. I never think pre-season's a good yardstick to measure anything by. It is about fitness. I've done my years of having meltdowns over pre-season results and then rein myself in a few hours later thinking, come on, get a grip. it is about fitness. It's about building momentum and team sort of fitness overall. But yeah, not having Rob Apter this season is going to be the obvious sort of question as to who's going to be the one to step into his shoes. I don't think anyone can step into Rob Apter's shoes. And that was very much the conversation in the last couple of games of last season. Interesting what happens with Josh Hawkes. He spent the vast majority of the 2023-24 season on the sidelines, on the bench. Looked like he was probably going to be heading out the door, looked out of favour. Then he goes and signs a new contract. I certainly hope he's still got some part to play, because I think there's a talent there. I think there's a finisher there with Josh Hawkes. We saw the season before last, he can sort of drift in and out of games, cut inside, and then finish brilliantly on his right foot. So remains to be seen. But yeah, I think at the moment, the Apter, the spectre of Apter will still hang over the group. And I certainly hope with a good start to the season, and that's the key thing. Tranmere, if you look over the last 10 years, don't start seasons well. So if we can get a positive start to the new campaign, and the tough fixtures, of course, then I think everyone will feel better.